Demmodore Lenoir was recently arrested by the deep state. Crooked Roger Goodell is continuing his persecution of the 49ers. According to fake news, cops suspected criminal activity. Suspected how? What do you mean suspected? Suspected how? They suspected criminal activity as they got closer to the vehicle. They saw a weapon in the car. When officers asked Lenoir to hand over the keys, he refused. Lenoir was arrested on one count of resisting a peace officer. I am calling on California Governor Gavin Newsom to immediately issue a blanket pardon to Demmodore Lenoir and all 49ers, really, to end this witch hunt, okay? And I'll be honest with you. Honestly, there's virtually nothing Demmodore Lenoir could do. If he could help us win a Super Bowl, there's virtually nothing he could do that I wouldn't pardon. Like what if we got back to the Super Bowl, right? And the night before, you found out he was on the Epstein flight logs. If you found out Demmodore Lenoir was on the Epstein flight, I would cover it up, to be honest with you. If we lost, then I'd send it in. But if we won, I would keep it quiet just to see if we could repeat or three-peat. And then after that, I'd probably whatever. When he turns 30, I'd be like, hey, by the way, this happened. Or I would save it for his next contract extension. You know what I mean? Take a major haircut, or I don't know, maybe his trips to the island could leak if he doesn't re-sign with us at a major discount. Uh-oh! Zohran Mahmdani has won the Democratic primary in the New York mayoral race. This is very relevant to the 49ers. It has major implications for the 49ers, and I will tell you why. But first, this has been really annoying me. I don't know what your YouTube feed is like, but my YouTube feed is constantly spamming time is an illusion, there is no simultaneity. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson or these other pop science communicators keep spamming this notion, this incorrect notion that there is no simultaneity. Let me just explain, okay? So when you see these time is illusion stuff, they're conflating three different phenomena, okay? The first is the standard, your feet are aging slower than your head, okay? Someone at sea level is aging slightly slower than someone living in a mountain. Someone near a black hole is aging much slower than those of us here on Earth, okay? So that phenomena is true, it's confirmed, it's verified, there's no question about it. That part is true. That's number one. Number two is a perceptual lag. Okay, so the idea is we never can perceive the present because there is a delay in our sensory input. It takes time for light to reach our eyeballs. It takes time for our neurons to fire and all that stuff. So we cannot observe or perceive the present due to perceptual lag. This is true both in human scales and cosmological scales. We can imagine a civilization, an alien civilization 100 million light years away. If they were able to look at Earth, if they were able to get photons from Earth, they might see that dinosaurs were still running around. Okay, assuming enough photons would reach them, probably not, but if it did, they might see that dinosaurs were still running around. And that is a perceptual lag that occurs on cosmological scales and human scales. That part is also true. Where they go off the rails is the third one, where they take the leap into there is no such thing as now, there is no such thing as simultaneity. What they are doing there is taking an idealized mathematical framework and extrapolating that into the real world outside of its domain of applicability. Okay, so if, let me just boil it down because I'm sure you want me to shut the hell up. So I'll make this really, really quick, okay? It is in principle possible to create a universal clock using the Big Bang or T equals 0, cosmic T equals 0 as a universal reference point. Okay, now everyone will have to make a little bit of adjustments. So if you're a non-co-moving, you'll have to make adjustments, but everyone will end up with the same number, whether it's 13.8 billion years, 13.7, 13. Everyone should in principle come up with the same exact number. And that would be used as a universal reference point, such that if there were a space crime, let's say there was a space crime committed on Earth 12.5 billion years after cosmic T equals 0, right? The space cop would be able to interview the space suspect in Andromeda and ask him, hey, where were you 12.5 years after cosmic T equals 0? And the space cop would be able to assess the space suspect's space alibi. Because using that universal clock, you can determine a universal now. You don't need a God's eye perspective. You don't need to have some perspective outside of space-time. That's not true. So, yeah. Well, what Neil deGrasse Tyson and these other guys are doing, these pop sci communicators are doing, they are taking what are intended as visual aids or thought experiments meant to help us conceptualize the counterintuitive within SR, and they are like extrapolating that to the real world, which you cannot and should not do. And it is not true for the world in which we live. So there is a now, there is a simultaneity. I really needed to get that off my chest. I'm happy now.
Gotham. Have you seen what Batman is up against in Gotham and what the guy running for mayor is up against? That's what it reminds me of. They're taking Wall Streeters and make him walk out onto the ice in the East River as and hope and then they fall through. I mean, there is a class warfare that's going.
So what's happened here, I think, is
the rich.
So here's the problem for the 49ers. With Mahmdani's victory, it won't be long now before the Mahmdani regime arrests Nick Bosa and has him tried before, a military tribunal or something. And Brock Purdy as well, because of how open he's been with his faith and his patriotism. He will be a victim of the Mahmdani regime. Honestly, who's more persecuted than guys like Nick Bosa and Brock Purdy? You know what I mean? Like, they're the true victims. And somebody has to speak up for them. Like, somebody has to stand up for Nick Bosa and Brock Purdy. Because with radical communism, it won't be long before you have, like, masked agents arresting Nick Bosa and Brock Purdy. That's the problem with radical communism.